years ago, I was at a family gathering at my husband's parents' house. Everyone was there to celebrate a cousin's birthday. I grabbed some food and sat next to somebody who I didn't recognize. She looked to be about high school age. I turned to her and I said, "Hi, I'm Tonya. I'm married to Jeff, who's the oldest brother in the family." She looked at me, said nothing, looked at her phone, and then seconds later, the guy next to her burst out laughing. I bet you're thinking what I was thinking. How rude. But then I started to think, oh yes, challenge accepted, game on. And so I turned to her and I said, "Oh, so how do you know the birthday girl? Do you live in the neighborhood? Cute shoes, where'd you get them?" And do you know what she said? Nothing. In fact, she and her friend grabbed their phones and scurried away. And to this day, I have no idea who she was and why she was at the family birthday party. How many of our households are the same way? Technology is destroying togetherness, especially when it comes to the family. Have you ever noticed that people are in the same room with their heads down, in their own phones, ignoring each other? Technology is destroying togetherness, especially when it comes to the family. Next time you're at a restaurant, look around at the other tables. How many of the other tables are filled with people looking at their own phone instead of having a conversation with the people they chose to go out to dinner with? Every day that you miss interacting with your family, you place a tiny wedge inside the family. I know you love your kids. I know you love your partner. I know you love your spouse. You don't want your kid to glare or your partner to be indifferent. What if there was a solution? Today, you are going to pick up the 3 tools that will help you raise a family that loves to be together. These are the 3 T's to family togetherness. The first T to a tight-knit family is traditions. Traditions are a powerful and meaningful way to create lasting bonds, foster a sense of belonging, and build cherished memories. Traditions do not have to be big, grand things. They can be something as little as popcorn. Friday night is movie night in our house. When our kids were little, movie night was just for my husband and I. The daughters would get tucked into bed and the 2 of us would pop popcorn and watch a movie. But we would always leave the leftover bowl of popcorn on the counter in the kitchen. The next morning when the daughters woke up, it was like a treasure hunt. They would creep together in the kitchen and see the bowl of leftover popcorn on the counter, and then they'd have to help each other reach it and then share it while watching Saturday morning cartoons. Yes, they loved that leftover popcorn. As they grew into elementary school age, movie night morphed into dinner and a movie. We would put a picnic blanket down on the living room floor and spread out our food and popcorn for everyone to share, sitting on the floor, watching a movie together. Now, what do you think our daughters got out of that tradition? They got a sense of stability. Fridays were predictable evenings, even in our ever-changing world. This can be especially valuable to children as it helps them feel grounded and connected to their family's history and values. Okay, so take my dinner and a movie example. It's Friday, and maybe it was a tough week. Maybe you didn't study enough for your spelling test. Maybe your best friend sat with somebody else at lunch. Maybe your boss is demanding extra from you. It's Friday. It's dinner and a movie. A comforting anchor, reinforcing a sense of community, of continuity, and security. We are grounded together as a family by something as simple as pizza and The Little Mermaid, or Cobra Kai. It may be a TV series that you watch together. You probably have some really good suggestions, and I'm always looking for new ideas for good series to watch on TV. So I would love if you would share with me sometime your ideas. Now, I said that technology is destroying family togetherness, and then I said that everyone should sit together and stare at the TV. Am I contradicting myself? No. It's best if you talk about the show together after watching the show together. Reference favorite scenes. Predict what will happen in the next episode. But often it's important to be together without the pressure to perform. We can just be present. With traditions, you can be present without the pressure to perform. And the Word of God agrees with us. Check out Hebrews 10:25. Let us not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. The verse is referencing the day Jesus returns, and we can also look at it as talking about the day when we are no longer together. As the daughters have moved on to their own lives, Friday movie nights went away. Instead, my husband and I eat dinner together in front of the TV every night. I wanted to say, I can't do that. Happily married couples sit together and eat dinner together with tablecloth and candle night and home-cooked meals and enjoy pleasant conversations. But I came to realize that my husband comes home from work after an entire day of conversations. He's a professor and he talks all day long. He needs a time not to talk. So it's my job just to be present. And it's interesting that now he helps clean up after dinner. And that's when we have our conversation about our day. When we know we can count on certain rituals or activities at specific times, it fosters a feeling of security and predictability. These traditions provide the structure and meaning that families need to thrive in today's fast-paced world. So that's what I mean about traditions. Traditions make it easy to be together without the pressure to perform. Traditions is our first T in togetherness. With traditions, you can be present without the pressure to perform. And to take a quote from the movie Lilo and Stitch, Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Traditions are great, but if you really want to build a family that loves to spend time together, consider taking a trip. Travel is the second T to a tight-knit family. Here's what I've discovered. Travel turns family into team family. When you're in an unfamiliar place, an unfamiliar culture, it's natural to draw together for comfort. You rely on the people in your family because they are the only predictable thing in this new location. Sometimes when you battle the adversity that can come with travel, you become team family. I bet you're thinking right now of the time when something has gone wrong on a family vacation. It's happened to all of us, and you survive. And actually, those are the stories that you tell over and over again. When our daughters were in elementary school, we loaded up the minivan and drove the California desert. We want to camp one night and then visit Calico Ghost Town in the morning. We see a nice empty campground on a slope in the desert and pull in. My husband says, I wonder why the campground is empty. And I say, oh, don't worry about it. We get to pick the very best spot. And so we pick the best site and put up our tent. Turns out there's a reason that the campground is empty. In the middle of the night, there's a soft roar in the distance. It builds and it builds until we were hit by a powerful windstorm. The wind is constant and batters our tent. We move to each corner of the tent to try to sleep, but the wind is so strong that we keep getting rolled around. My 8-year-old daughter says, I want to sleep in the car. I can't hear her because the wind is so roaringly loud. She crawls over to me, shouts in my face, I want to sleep in the car. I shout back, let's ask Daddy. I try to see my husband in the dark. One of the 4 tent poles snaps. I see my husband crawl out of the tent with our younger daughter. Another tent pole snaps. I'm in the tent with my 10-year-old daughter. We need to pack up everything in gale force winds. Husband has daughter 2 standing in the back of the minivan, and as he shoves stuff to her through an open window, the car is rocking back and forth, and she's screaming, hurry, Daddy! I start pushing everything towards the tent door. The sleeping bags flap in the wind as my husband hands them to daughter 2 into the car. The 3rd tent pole snaps. The tent is almost completely flat. I crawl over to daughter 1 and I say, okay, you sit here with your back to the tent pole. I'm going to try to get the rest of the stuff out. Was this too much to ask? What kind of mom leaves her 10-year-old in a collapsed tent in the middle of a windstorm in the middle of the night? Okay, well, we had no choice. If she had crawled out, the tent and everything left in it would have blown away in the desert. I get the rest of the stuff to my husband and crawl back to daughter 1. I'm worried about her. Is she crying? Is she terrified? Will she ever go into a tent again? When I get to her, she isn't crying. She isn't hysterical. She isn't terrified. No. She is singing. My daughter is singing at the top of her lungs. I say, you have to crawl out now. She says, how? I can't see the door. And I say, it's just like childbirth. Just head on out. She says, Mommy, that's gross. But she does it. The last tent pole, the pole that daughter one was holding up with her back, it was bent to the shape of her back. We are all safe in the car with almost all of our camping gear. I say, well, now we know why no one camped here. We are exhausted. So we drive to a rest stop and sleep the rest of the night in the minivan while the storm rages on. Think about a time when your family was traveling and was in a storm together. Was it wind, rain, or snow? Or perhaps a metaphorical storm? Think about that right now. Someday you'll have to tell me that story. And I'm willing to bet that you and I have one thing in common. Someone in your family stepped up. Someone made the best of it. Someone helped. And that's what travel does. It gives each person in the family a role to play, and each member of the family gains more self-confidence to handle unexpected situations, even when your kids are little. Travel turns family into team family. And that just isn't a modern truth, it's biblical. Think of the Israelites wandering around in the desert. That wasn't exactly a luxury cruise, but in the desert, they became a people. They were formed in the adversity. They became a family of tribes who had to trust each other, trust God, and keep walking forward. Deuteronomy 2:7 says, the Lord your God has been with you these 40 years, and you have not lacked anything. And he said that to the Israelites wandering the desert, even when they complained, even when they camped in the wrong spot, like us. God was with them, and God is with you, and God is with me. And they became his people along the journey. Okay, well, how about Mary and Joseph? They didn't start their parenting journey in the comfort of home. They were traveling from Nazareth to Bethlehem and then to Egypt. And through it all, they relied on each other and on God. Matthew 2:14, so Joseph got up, took his child and his mother during the night and left for Egypt. That's a family moving fast in a metaphorical storm and trusting God as they did it. When you travel together, you grow together. You develop inside jokes. You sharpen your patience. You learn who's good in a crisis. You get better in a crisis. And you come home not just with memories, but with stronger bonds. And each member of the family gains more self-confidence to handle unexpected situations, even teenagers, even little kids. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. That night in the desert, our team family came through. We laughed later, but in the moment we each had a job. We each had a role, and we'll never forget it. If you travel with your family, then you will have adventures. Some planned, some frightening, and some that are funny. You will have to draw together. So I challenge you, look at your calendar. Pick a date within the next 3 months. Plan a trip. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait for everything to line up. Just go. The memories aren't always made in the moments that go right. They're made in the ones that you get through together. Travel turns family into team family. All right, let's go back. What was the first tool to raise a family that loves to be together? That's right, tradition. With traditions, you can be present without the pressure to perform. Traditions are important because they bring the fun back into family. And the second tool to raise a family that loves to be together, to raise a tight-knit family, that's right, travel. Travel turns family into team family. Yes. Now, you don't want to get to the day where your kids don't talk to you, where your kids glare instead of smile, where you and your partner live parallel lives with no real connection. The first two tools are not enough. And now we get to the most important tool of all, time. And now we get to the most important tool of all, time. Psalms 90 verse 12 says, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain the heart of wisdom." This verse reminds us that our time is limited and valuable. When we number our days, we start to use them wisely, especially with the people God has entrusted us with. The beginning of the day is when my husband is most chatty. He always wants to talk to me in the morning. He talks about current events or about his work, but I've got things to do. Eat breakfast, get dressed, do my hair, the things that everyone needs to do to get ready for the day. When our daughters were little, his need to talk in the morning was really inconvenient. We live in a small house, so it's possible to be in the bedroom and talk loud enough to be heard in the living room. I could hear him, but I would say to myself, don't engage. I'd have to get everyone ready for the day. I have to change diapers, get everyone fed, dress, make lunches, clean faces. Really couldn't be running back and forth, talking to him and getting the daughters ready. It was so exasperating. Now, one morning, I'm telling this to my mommy and me group. Okay, I'm complaining to my mommy and me group. We're sitting around in a circle with our little babies, and I say, I can't stand it. My husband just wants to talk to me every morning, but I'm busy. He stands there ironing his shirt for work, and he expects me to stop what I'm doing to have a conversation with him. He just irons and jabbers on while I'm changing diapers and wiping faces and making lunches. I have to get everyone fed and dressed and teeth brushed, and he's just standing there ironing his shirt, chatting as if nothing is wrong. He's driving me crazy. And then I stop, and the ladies are all staring at me with big eyes. I just know I'm going to get some sympathy. Nope. Can you guess what they said? Your husband irons his own shirts? Oh, perspective. Sometimes the very things we see as interruptions are actually gifts in disguise. Romans 12:10 says, "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves." Time spent with others is how we honor them. It's how we show them they matter more than our schedule, our checklists, or our phone. I'm here to tell you, when you make time for your family makes better times. If you make time for the people in your family will be closer than most other families. Listen, I know life is busy. 100 things are vying for our attention at any given time of any given day. But making our children and partner a priority is more important than most things on our to-do list. We can be purposeful in our family relationships. All it takes is a bit of creativity and intentionality on our part. And once we put these things into practice, they'll become a regular part of our routine and make our kids and our partners feel seen. When you make time for your family makes better times. It's like putting coins in a piggy bank. Every time you spend a tiny bit of attention on one person in your family, their love piggy bank gets filled up a tiny bit more. Now, it doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be the same with each family member. So here are some ideas. Take a walk around the block. Do the cooking or baking together. Run errands sitting in the same car together. Do an exercise video. A bedtime, best thing about what happened to me today talk. Or dinner without the TV. I know of a grandfather who finds out what novel their teenage grandson is reading in school, and he reads it also. And then the two of them, at the end of each chapter, call and talk about what they learned in the novel. I've heard about one parent that has 4 children. There's 4 Saturdays in a month. Each Saturday is one child's turn to go to a garage sale with the mom. Think about your ideas. What is it that you do to spend time, big or small, with the people in your family? I would love for you to share those with me. I'm always looking for new ideas. When you make time for your family makes better times. But spending time doesn't even need to take that much effort. Spending time is simple as sight and sound. All right, I'm going to call you out. Are you on your phone right now? Is your phone in your hand right now? Or is your phone in reach? Could you grab it quickly right from where you're sitting if you need to? Okay, that makes my point in itself. Spending time with your family is simple. And you know what's coming, don't you? Put down your phone. On average, in 2024, people are checking their phone 324 times a day. Okay, here's the reality. When you are constantly glued to your phone, then it's hard for anyone to feel like they are your primary focus of attention. Spending time is as simple as sight and sound. Sight. Look up from your phone when a family member enters your presence. It's not as easy as it sounds. But what's more important, the TikTok video or your teenager? What's more important, posting about your toddler or being present with your toddler? Look up from your phones when somebody enters your presence. Sight. Make eye contact and smile. If your partner crosses your path in the house, make eye contact and smile. That's all it is. Sight. Acknowledge, I hear you. Lean forward. Point your knees to what you are paying attention to. You can acknowledge that you hear somebody by pointing your knees at them. It's the strangest thing. But if you're sitting down, point your knees to the person who's talking, and they will feel even more strongly how much you are listening to them. If you're standing or doing something else, turn so that your knees are facing the person talking to you. Subtly, they will see that and they will know that you are giving them your time. Sound. Listen. Sound. Respond. Sight and sound are easier if you're not distracted by your phone. Think about what would be the hardest thing to give up. What is it on your phone that attracts you? Some people are always checking TikTok. Some people use it to always check their calendar. Some people have email alerts on their phone. Would it be so tragic not to be on your phone for your calendar, your email, your social media that often? Time spent with others is how we honor them. It's how we show them they matter more than our schedule, our checklist, or our phone. 1 Corinthians 13:4, you know this one. Love is patient. Love is kind. And sometimes the most loving thing we can do is slow down long enough to be patient. To give someone our eyes, our ears, and our knees pointed in their direction. When you make time for your family makes better times. My husband still wants to chat in the mornings. I have learned the sight and sound tool for spending time with him while still feel like I can get what I need done in the morning. When I'm eating breakfast and getting ready for the day, at least once, I make sure to look at him and to smile at him and to point my knees at him and respond at least once to the things he's talking about. I don't need to 100% engage for him to be feeling heard. And in our house, our kitchen sink doesn't face a window going outside. So we have a mirror over the kitchen sink. And I have started doing my hair in the kitchen, over the kitchen sink, so that I can be more present for him. And let me tell you, I do appreciate that my husband irons his own shirts. Yes. Spending time doesn't mean you have to give up everything else. It means you prioritize presence in the small moments. Philippians 2:4. Let each of you look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Both are important. When you put down your phone, when you make eye contact, when you listen, that's Philippians 2:4 in action. That's giving your family not just your time, but your heart. When you make time for your family makes better times. And in so doing, your family members feel seen. Your family will love spending time together more than most other families. Around the time our daughters were mid-elementary school, I started noticing something different among families. And yes, I know, every family is different. Some are big, some are small, some have 2 parents, some have 1, some have grandparents and cousins in town, and some only see extended family through FaceTime at Thanksgiving. But the differences I started noticing wasn't about structure, it was about connection. Some families had kids who actually liked spending time with their family. And I remember thinking, wait, is this possible? I wanted that. I wanted to raise kids who enjoyed being with us and not just tolerated family time. I wanted A family that looked forward to being together, and not just out of obligation, but out of love. Fast forward, now our daughters are young adults. One lives across town, one lives at the way other end of the state. They have homes, careers, friends, lives of their own. And yet, this past November, all four of us carved out 7 days to travel together to 3 countries in Europe. Yes, we are still traveling together. And it's not like back when they had school breaks or when we controlled the calendar. 4 working adults. Arranging schedules is like a complicated game of Tetris. But they made it work. They made it happen. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. They even surprised us by showing up in matching sweaters. And of course, one of them brought a deck of Uno cards. We're still playing our traditional Uno game, even on the train through the Alps. So what's the difference? What helps a family grow into one that genuinely wants to spend time together? And you know the answers. That's right. Traditions, travel, and time. Back then, when the girls were still young, I watched families with older kids like a hawk. You know how the teen years can be, and I wanted to figure out the secret. And I tried some things that didn't work, like the time I declared Tuesdays and Thursdays to be Spanish-only days before a trip to South America. The girls were 7 and 9 years old. I thought it was genius. My girls just stared at me like they wanted to say, "Mama, no mas." We tried the growth chart tradition, drawing the lines on the walls. I love that idea. I really do. But I only remembered to do it 4 times total. I was so embarrassed. I just painted over it like it never happened. But I do still celebrate their half birthdays. And you can ship a birthday cake through the mail. That's right, half a cake for half birthdays. Because that's a tradition that I started that stuck. And it's totally me. I love baking cakes. You see, it isn't about perfection. There is no one-size-fits-all strategy for raising a close-knit family. But the principles of tradition, travel, and time, they can work for your family, for your personality, and your season of life. You don't need 100 perfect ideas. You just need a few things that matter done consistently and with love. And if you do that, I promise you'll stand out. Your family will be a family that loves to be together. And this talk today, it's just the start. I'm thrilled to share a companion devotional designed to help you go deeper with these 3 ideas: tradition, travel, and time. Each section of this devotional includes scripture, a reflection, a family activity or prompt, and a short prayer, perfect to read solo or even around the dinner table. You can find my 3 T's to a tight-knit family, a parent's devotional, on this website. It's on sale now for just $5. Because you know that after watching my 30-minute talk here, you can easily fall back into old habits. With this parent's devotional, you can easily identify ways to improve the traditions in your family and have a way to gauge how they're working. You will have a personally written plan to challenge your family to travel within the next 3 months, and you will have a reminder of the tips and tricks for using the sight and sound method to have better time with your family. With traditions, you can be present without the pressure to perform. Travel turns family into team family. When you make time for your family makes better times. Because here's the truth. We're not just building stronger schedules, we're building stronger hearts. 1 Peter 4:8 says, above all, love each other deeply. Because love covers over a multitude of sins. And this verse has encouraged me in so many ways as a parent. We don't always get it right, but love, consistent, intentional, thoughtful love, makes up the difference. It's the glue that holds a family close. President Jimmy Carter said, the only things that we can truly give to each other are the only things that we truly need: an ear to listen, a heart to care, a word of encouragement, and a hand to help. And your family, they're worth every bit of that. Let's raise families that don't just stick together, but like being together. Let's build tight-knit families. I'm Tonya Lehman. Let's keep in touch.